Hello, and welcome to Law Talk. My name is John Celebrezze, and I'm the co-founder of the Celebrezze Zanghi Community Legal Education Project, as we call it, CZ-CLEP for short. Our organization provides continuing education about the judiciary and legislature to attorneys, judges, government officials, and the general public. As a career educator, I recognize early on how important legal matters are and how they impact our lives. I am the nephew of the late Anthony J. Celebrezze, who was the popular five-term mayor of Cleveland and a member of President Kennedy's cabinets. As a tribute to his lifetime commitment to the legal process, we dedicate this show. Our guest today is Medina County Domestic Relations Judge Mary Kovack. Judge Kovack received her bachelor's degree from the College of Worcester and her law degree from Case Western Reserve University. Judge Kovack previously served as a research attorney in both the state and federal appellate courts, including the United States Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. She is the past president of the Medina County Bar Association and the Ohio Association of Domestic Relations Judges. She was honored as Woman of Distinction by the Medina County YWCA. Judge Kovack and her son reside in Medina. Welcome, Judge.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. Judge, we're going to dig into your court today, Domestic Relations Court, and I've got some questions on my clipboard for you, as I normally do. But if I could, I'd like to just take a few minutes here right at the beginning. We've been fortunate this year to have a number of judges on the show, and I've been asking this question. In your case, I sort of know firsthand because I practice in your court periodically. What inspired you to become a judge?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's your Uncle Tony.
Really?
Yeah, really. I was privileged years ago to be a judicial attorney on his staff on the Sixth Circuit, and it was an amazing experience. He was such an impressive fellow. I was very impressed with the fact that he came from such humble origins.
That he did.
And he went so far, obviously, as you know.
Certainly.
And he never lost his roots, I guess I would say. And I was so honored and thrilled to have the opportunity to work for him, because many of those jobs on the circuit courts of appeals, you know, they're pretty much inhabited by Ivy League graduates. And not that Case Western is, you know, second rate in any way, shape, or form. But Judge Celebrezze always wanted to give an opportunity to local people, and particularly to, like, my family was also an ethnic family.
Sure.
And that was very important to him.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, if someday I could have an opportunity to do what he did on a much smaller scale, obviously, that would be just tremendous.
Well, you know, that's very heartening. As you know, and of course we know each other, and we've shared stories about, as we affectionately call him, Uncle Tony, served in President Kennedy's cabinet.
Yes.
But he never did forget his roots. And we had Judge McElvain on here for a show here some time ago, and he graduated from Ohio Northern, and of course Uncle Tony did as well. And he said pretty much the same thing. I mean, he, you know, was quite an inspiration, and of course, I'm very proud of that, and that's what the show is all about. And I'm sure he's very proud of your accomplishments too. Had he lived this past September, he'd been 99 years old.
Wow.
Well, Judge, life at the Domestic Relations Court. I visit occasionally.
Yes, you do.
How do I say it without being too corny? Nice place to visit, but don't know if I'd really like to live there.
I hear that a lot.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But I'm first in line to thank you for your service as a judge and what must be a very, very difficult job on some days. I think acrimonious might be an appropriate word when we have divorcing people as well as their attorneys involved, and you have to be the referee. So I guess the first question, for the benefit of our viewers, of course, and we'll start out with, it's a fair question. Just tell us about the Domestic Relations Court. What does it do?
Well, we handle pretty much all areas of family law. So we deal with marriage terminations, be they dissolutions, which are terminations by agreement, or contested divorces. We deal with the division of marital property. We deal with all aspects of the allocation of what we call parental rights and responsibilities. So that would be custody, shared parenting, visitation, and we also deal with spousal as well as child support, initiating the orders, modifying them, as well as enforcing them. And then starting in 2007, we actually added to the docket what we call parentage cases, and those are cases where the parents have not married.
I see.
So that's in essence, and we pretty much handle approximately 4,300 cases a year.
Oh my gosh! I
Yeah.
guess that's a number I was never privy to.
Yes.
Oh, so now we know why you're always so busy.
Yes.
4,300 cases a
Yeah.
year in Medina County. That is a statistic worth mentioning here. Well, a lot of decisions here, and of course I think we'll all be the first to agree that children come into play, and you have to be the person that makes some decisions that are going to affect children's lives, and for that, we certainly thank you. We have seen some, I wrote this question, so I'd say it to you exactly the way I want it's written. We have seen so many economic problems, Judge, in Ohio this last year. I mean, this has just been a bad year.
Yes.
And, you'd have to believe, how do these problems affect the domestic relations court? I mean, is there a connection here?
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of the caseload, in 2007, we actually handled, I think it was a little over 3,300 cases. In 2008, it was up to 4,300 cases.
Oh.
We believe that it's going to hit 4,500 cases this year. And the interesting part about that, and what I believe the economy is really affecting, is that the divorce rate's actually dropping slightly. Strangely, but I think it's because people can no longer afford to split up and live in two separate houses.
So the divorce rate is dropping, but your case...
The cases are going up, and the two areas they're going up, number one is domestic violence, which makes sense of people who may not really need to be together.
Sure.
And then the other area which is exploding is the modification and enforcement of spousal and child support. When people lose their jobs, obviously, they've got to try to do something.
So our once reasonably prosperous family, one or both of the breadwinners are no longer, if they're working at all, they're not making as much as they did before. They can't meet the obligations that you or some domestic relations judge had assigned, ordered at one point in time. So they're back.
Oh, absolutely. And then other increases are, the situations used to be people's largest asset was the house.
Yeah.
Well, now the values are dropping. So you have lots of disputes over what to do. Another effect we're seeing because of the economic pressures are, even though the divorce rate is dropping, the cases are becoming more contentious. So people, it's easier if you have something to divide. You can walk away with something in hand when you're dividing debt.
Yeah.
Or,
never thought about that.
It's much harder for people to deal with. And then we're also really affected by the high number of bankruptcies because the federal bankruptcy stay stops the divorce process. So cases are going on longer and longer.
Wow.
Because we can't finish what we're doing.
For the benefit of our viewers, bankruptcy is I'd very much like someday to have a show on it because I think it would be of great interest and unfortunately affecting so many people.
Absolutely.
But when you say, obviously, for the benefit of everybody, federal law controls bankruptcy.
Correct.
Where Judge, you are working within the state court system. But the federal law is going to trump you, so to speak, on. So one or both